So yeah, my name is Jaakko Knutinen. I work at QPR as a business development specialist, and I have background in industry engineering and management, and also quite a bit in Lean Six Sigma. I'm a green belt in that one, so I'm quite process improvement oriented person, and I like to analyze processes and make them better. And I'm joined with my colleague Olli Komulainen. Would you care to say a few words about yourself?
Absolutely. Good afternoon also on my behalf. Great being here. I've been with QPR a few years now, almost 4 years, doing process mining, and I love it. Super happy to be here with Jaakko. So Jaakko has prepared us a nice presentation related to order to cash, and I'm super happy to participate.
Yep. All right. Thank you and welcome, Olli. So our webinar today is about order to cash with process mining. So let's get right ahead and start. And if you have any questions at any moment, just write them into the questions box. We will gladly answer them. So what is coming up today is that first we'll discuss some challenges and benefits in an order to cash process, and benefits on why you should improve your order to cash process. And then we'll go through some best practices on how to analyze your process with process mining, and we'll demonstrate it hands-on how you can do an ad hoc analysis of your OTC process and why you should do that. And then finally we have a summary where we sum all the discussed things up, and lastly we have room for some questions, but please feel free to ask your questions at any moment of the presentation. All right. Okay, so what is process mining? Well, essentially process mining is a process analysis tool or a method that uses the data in your information systems. So every time your ERP, CRM, or BPM, or supply chain management system, or any kind of information system you have creates actions, so executes some activities or some sort of things like that, it creates event data into the system. And in process mining, we use this event data to create fact-based process analysis. So for example, we create and discover these kind of process flow charts. So this chart that you see here includes some activities such as sales item creation, creating deliveries, creating the invoice itself, and then clearing the invoice. So that means that the invoice was paid and the case itself is finished. So typically organization think of their processes in this way. So very straightforward and very easy and clean. However, in reality, when we analyze the processes, they typically look more like this. So there are many different kind of activities happening that we did not anticipate. There are changes, there are rejections, there are some activities that loop, so they happen more than once, even though we would like them to only occur once. And there is a lot of different kind of flows, so the processes do not go in the same fashion every time, which can be problematic sometimes. And with process mining, we can get a clear view on this kind of occurrences, but we can also dive a little bit deeper. So we are able to choose one aspect that we would like to analyze. So for in this example, we have chosen the net price changes, which we have then set as a root cause, and we would like to know why these cases are happening. So what is happening with all the process instances that have a net price changes, and we are able to get a clear view on how those executions are different from the, let's say, normal method of working. So that is essentially process mining, turning event data into valuable insights that helps you with your process improvement and helps to understand your processes in general. Okay, so then to the challenges. So order to cash process is mainly a process that turns the money you earned into your actual bank account or whatever it is, so that you can spend and invest it further. So lead time is well, maybe the biggest challenge in order to cash, as you would like to get the money as fast as possible so that you can invest it again to create some business growth, which is the main benefit on why you would like to make your lead time faster, so that you can invest the money you have earned faster and faster and faster, so that you can grow faster. And well, other benefits of improving your lead time would be that your customers are happier. So when they get the delivery on time, or even that you can promise them that the delivery will be 2 days sooner, you can create happy customers, which will then return to you. And also you can follow lead times such as invoicing or delivery, or then you can consider the whole end-to-end order to cash process. So there are different kinds of challenges and benefits associated based on what do you want to analyze. Then there are process irregularities. So basically this means that different kinds of rework or changes in the orders or in everything. So basically anything that you do not typically want to see in the process, but that is happening in the process. So that's a challenge. And well, improving or that challenge yields benefits as well. Rework always includes extra costs of operation. So obviously when you get rid of those changes or rework, you can have savings of the costs, and also you can likely improve your customer satisfaction, but also your employee satisfaction, as if you imagine yourself as the employee who is handling all these invoices, they probably do not like to see too many changes, as it complicates their work. So there's that kind of benefit also available. And then we can also, with process mining, we can help you to select the best improvement areas and the best process automation areas. So typically you can create your lead times faster by either process improvement or process automation. But if you want to automate your process, you should not automate any kind of process. You should first make sure that the process works as it is supposed to work, and it has no rework or no issues. Because if the basic process creates issues and creates errors, basically by automating such a process only makes errors faster. So you really don't want to see that. So with process mining, we can help you to first correct those issues in the process, and then help you choose the best places for automation.
Very good. If you may, I would also like to comment quickly. I really like the challenges, Jaakko, you've chosen over here, the highlighted one. And to me, actually, these all boil to the same bottom line, that the organizations are aiming to reduce manual labor and manual work. And as you mentioned, that can be done either with the business process improvement, so less those manual activities, doing only the value-adding work, or then automating those manual tasks. And further on, as you also mentioned, automation is not worthy unless the process is ready for that, so the maturity is high enough. So in process mining, we are supporting these both ends. And after all these challenges, these transform into huge monetary value on companies. So thinking about the working capital tied because of the late delivery times, late invoicing after delivery, and such labor costs because of the non-evaluating work, etc., etc. So this is a very, very good agenda for today. I love it. Very good.
Yeah, and I hope you all agree with us and enjoy the ride.
Super.
Okay, so next I will go through our best practice ad hoc analysis, first on the slides, and then after that, when you get an overview of what we are going to do, we will move on to the hands-on demo.
Excellent. Will there be also an application demonstration today?
Oh yeah, definitely. So we will see our order-to-cash
yes.
applications in use.
Very good.
After the ad hoc analysis, and it's kind of a part of the demo itself. So first we show how you would do it in ad hoc way, and then we will show you how easy it is to use those ready-made applications to do essentially the same thing that we do by ad hoc analysis. So basically, first we do a process discovery session. So the aim here is to learn and understand how your process works as it currently stands. So essentially, this is the prerequisite for any process improvement activity. You need to know where you're going before you can improve. And with process mining, you are able to reveal the true performance of your current process with the data used in the information system. So we get a data-based analysis which removes the different assumptions people in the process may have, and different like ideas that I like this more than that, so this can't be true, which are quite typically involved in those methods that try to figure out the process through different workshops or maybe interviews or things like that. So with process mining, it is super easy and fast to get a clear vision on where you're going. So we can identify process flows, durations, bottlenecks, different kind of reworks, and so on. So then second step is to identify the issues. So we know now where the process is going, how it is performing, but we want also properly identify some issues. So now we need to learn where, when, and why these issues happen. So as I mentioned earlier, with the root cause analysis, it is very easy to spot like what different aspects in your process create, for example, the price changes. So these aspects can be like operators, so these are like different people working in different systems, or then it can be like different manufacturing location or different factory entirely, and things like that. It can be some customer that is always late with their payments, or different activities happening in the process. So we are able to identify and spot those aspects. Then lastly, but not leastly, we will be able to monitor the process improvement results and to perform some initial analysis on them too. So here in the picture you can see the OTC application that we currently have. So there are a lot of ready-made analysis tools specifically designed for like specific use cases. So we can easily get an overview and insights of the process. We can deep dive into specific KPIs we are interested in, and we can of course fully customize it to each given case. But now I will switch to the QPR Process Analyzer tool. So this is the main menu of QPR Process Analyzer. We currently have SAP order-to-cash data model downloaded into here. so generic SAP data. We have the process discovery tool over here, which is used for the initial discovery of your process, as we talked about. Then there's conformance checking. So we can create a process model that we would like to follow, and then we can check out if our current execution is according to this or not. So very useful, for example, in auditing scenarios. And then we have clustering analysis, which is useful when you want to see what kind of cases are familiar with each other and what kind of contributors work well with each other. And then we can also enhance our PPMN models if we so like. So by clicking from here,
there was actually a question coming in that are those analyses you show there on the menu all only for order to cash, or are they generic? How would you feel?
Do you mean they probably meant these applications which are here? So these are designed specifically with the order to cash process in mind, but we definitely do have some more. So for example, if we would look at P2P, so purchase to pay, we have these applications for this process as well. And for example, for production, we have applications here too. So we are able to create those not solely on order to cash process, but on basically any kind of process.
Absolutely, I fully agree with you, Jaakko. And then there is the core product in a way with those discoveries and manual way, and this new application layer on top of it. And I really like it. So it's something we've been developing and publishing earlier this year, and what an improvement it was for the usability. And I guess you mentioned that you will show both ways in a way, ad hoc analysis today and also these applications. To me, I'm going to use applications all the time in the future. So
yeah, definitely. We'll show the old school way and then the modern way.
Super.
So a sneak peek into the application world. So for example, if we want to look at the operations overview, we can quite easily see the general performance of our order to cash process. So here we can see how many items there are, what is their total value. We can see the process flow here. We can see service level agreement compliance trends, automation rates, and some specific lead times you want to see. And all these elements are totally customizable. So if you don't, for example, like to see your automation rates, you can change it to something else. Or if you want to see all of these and you want even more, they can be easily added into the dashboard view. So there's really sky is the limit here. But now let's move on to the ad hoc analysis. So if we think about our problem, so let's say the problem or the target is to increase the overall lead time. So make the overall OTC end-to-end process faster, so that we can get those benefits for getting the money in faster and investing in faster in the future. So how would this kind of analysis be done in an ad hoc way? So first we would probably need to think about what are those project executions that are relevant in our analysis. And well, when we look at this process flow chart, we can see that the last event here is the invoice clearing. So this means that the payment was made. So there can be some process instances that are not fully completed. So for example, a case may have been that the service item has been created and the invoice has been created, but it has not been paid yet. So we don't really want to focus on those kind of cases in this analysis. So we are going to select only those cases that have been paid and cleared, so they are finished, and we will set that as a filter. So that is easy. So we just click the box here and select it as a filter. And now you can see above here that it is cases going through invoice clearing is set as a filter. So now we can then continue our analysis and think about the case durations. So here on the right, you can see different kind of ready ad hoc analysis that can be used. So in this case, we would probably like to look at the case duration, as the case duration is essentially what is the lead time for the whole process. And we would like to look them by days. So we can see that there's a spike here around the 60 days, but then when we consider that order to cash lead time is heavily dependent on the payment terms, so there can be different payment terms. So how would you figure out the amount of payment terms? So what payment term would be the most used one? Well, that is easy to do with the case attribute profiling analysis. So here we can see that there is a payment term field used in the SAP data. So we can take that one and we can see that the 30 days from date of invoice is the most likely case to happen. So we may as well select that for the further analysis, because it does not really make sense to compare 30 days for date of invoice as a payment term and 60 days end of month simultaneously, as the promised payment date is whole different. So here you would expect to see the 60 days payment, and here you would expect to see 30 days plus the time it takes to create an invoice. So we will set that as a filter. So now we only...
Yeah, I was just saying that, is it basically depending industry to industry or your operational model, that if we slice the order to cash in two, there is the order fulfillment process that is basically operation. So either make the stock, make the order. So there's huge differences from minutes to months and so on. And then the payment term, actually from invoice creation to clearing, that is something like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days netto, and those can be analyzed separately. And now you're taking that 30 days payment term to minimize the effect on that side.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So now, as we are looking only to these payment terms, so now what we should expect for the process duration to be is 30 days plus the time it takes for us to create an invoice. But how long does it take for us to create an invoice? That's the next problem we need to solve. And that is very easy to solve with this process mining tool. So we can go here to use a preset. So we have created a lot of presets that can be used for different kind of analysis, such as, for example, different KPIs. So there is SLA, on-time delivery, 4 principle KPIs, and there are some automation presets that we can use, but right now we are interested in durations. So we want to know how long it does take from the start into the invoice creation. So we select duration between events. So now when we look at the flow chart, we want to know how long it does take for us to go from the customer PO date into the invoice created part. So this flow right here. And we can simply choose invoice created right here. And we can change this to days right here. And now we can easily see how long does it take for us to invoice our customers. So we can look at the most cases are going through days, and there's a long tail here, which is typically not that good in a process to see a long tail. But for example, let's say that on average we want to be able to invoice our customers in 5 days. So let's say that 5 days is the time we want for us to invoice our customers. So we can use that on top of the 30 days. So for us, the case duration for the whole OTC process should be 35 days. And now we can go see how well that actually is happening right now. So we go to the case duration analysis, change the days, and here we can see all the cases that have 30 days date of invoice happening. So there's a long tail again, and mostly they take quite a bit longer than the 35 days. So now we can select all those cases that are not what we would like to see and create those as filter. So what we are now looking at is all those problematic cases. So all those cases that take more than 36 days. And now when we think about where to go next, so I guess that as this analysis is quite far already, but we want to take it a little bit deeper. So in order to know why the lead times are long, so we need to think about what aspects make the lead time longer. And one of those are changes. So when we look at the process flowchart here, we can see that there are these boxes that are all some kind of changes or rework.
Can you zoom in a little to see better?
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah.
So all these boxes. So when we create a sales item, we should go straight to delivery, but there can be some changes, and typically changes always prolong lead times. So out of these, we can see that these numbers, by the way, they show how many cases are going through each activity. So I think it's quite natural here to focus on the activity that takes most of the cases, so net price change. So we can select that. But now, instead of creating a filter, we would like to create a root cause analysis of this activity so that we know how these cases that are going through the net price change perform or behave. So we can set the root cause here. So now you can see some colors here. So the red ones are those cases that are going through the net price change, and the blue ones then, like for example this blue flow here, are those that are not going through net price change. So ultimately, if you could remove all the net price changes, you would go straight from SO item creation to the delivery. And also, it is very likely that if you have a net price change, you will also have some of these other events that are probably something that you do not want to have in your process.
That's highly interesting analysis. If you zoom in a little bit over there, if I read it correctly, it means that if a sales order should have a price change happening, that means that the likelihood of a billing block just it's about 9-folded. So it means that all the cases with the net price change, they have a billing blocks with 28%, about roughly 1/3 is it, and then the ones that do not have a net price change, they don't really have it. So there's a really nice correlation. Interesting insights.
Yeah,
can you
definitely
show the same for attributes as well?
So what do you mean attributes? Sorry.
Case attributes point of view, some maybe regionalities, businesses, or something that correlate with the net prices. So root causes for case attribute analysis.
No, yeah.
Or yeah, on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Just
so
yeah.
So we can go further and check out the root causes analysis. This is what Olli meant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we can remove a couple of these as they are not that informational, so that we are only showing those contributors that actually make sense in the process. So here you can see all those different attributes that contribute to the net price changes. So
okay,
for
so
example,
the dimensions have it more often. Yes.
Yeah. So for example, you can see that Belgium and Germany have quite a bit of cases. So there's 1,500 cases going on in them, and in 21% of those cases there is a net price change happening. So it's quite a big. And then also there's Russia. Well, in Russia there's only 90 cases, but 72% of those cases are actually having a net price change. So there's something really funny happening there. So basically with this ad hoc analysis, you could say that maybe we should investigate or ask what they are doing in Russia, why they are doing so bad, as they only have a small number of cases, but they're still, let's say, failing quite a lot. So you could maybe with some small changes, you could create an improvement that then reduces the amount of changes in Russia. And also you could maybe, when you're thinking about where should I start my process improvement initiative, or where should I begin my automation journey, maybe you could, for example, select Belgium, as there are still quite a bit of these cases happening, so there's definitely room for improvement. And also, well, that's one way to use this root cause analysis, but another way to use the root cause analysis to support your process improvement is to see where these things are not happening. So basically we can select those cases that are not going through net price changes that much. So here we can see that the UK has 1,700 cases, but only 5% of those cases are actually having net price changes. So that is better than generally in this data. So maybe you could actually go to learn some best practices from the United Kingdom and then apply these best practices to your facilities in Belgium. So that is another way to use the root cause analysis, and it's super fast and simple and super effective also. And now we can show you the application if you don't have anything to add here, Olli.
No, it's been interesting analysis. I'm quite analytical person myself. I love the journey, but to be honest, on a busy work days, etc., helping customers to onboard, we recognize that there's definitely a need for some modular and solution layer on top of it to basically answer those frequent questions out of the box with those templates that I believe you are gonna head to
Definitely.
show. Yeah.
So here, if we go to the OTC application, this same analysis can be made so much faster. So we have created the net price changes dashboard that shows the rate of price changes in all regions. So for example, here you could set a filter by just pressing on the bar here. So all these numbers and elements change dynamically, and you could set it as a filter over here by just clicking on it, and you can see that on top there is a filter now. So we could really easily do the same analysis here, and it would be even faster. So generally what you can see here is there are price change rates and case amount rates. So you would like to see this red line going down instead of up. And also it is very easy to spot which places are doing better and which places are doing a little bit worse in terms of the price change rates. So for example, we can easily identify that UK has really low rate of changes, but then again India has a really high rate of changes. And here we can also see that the case durations without price changes in UK, which is doing really great in terms of the price changes, is having 9 days of OTC process duration, which is quite well, I'd say. But then if they face a change in the process, it delays them by 14 days. So here we can easily identify that actually the price changes in the process really do have quite a big impact on the end-to-end lead time of the process.
So those are impact days, so additional days on top of that.
Yeah.
And it also validates that actually in none of the company codes, the process with the price changes is quicker. So those are all positive values.
Yeah, definitely.
All righty.
So yeah, in total, if you would have a price change here, it would be 23.7. So. And then
a lot of time. Yeah.
We have the root cause analysis. So here we have already preset the net price changes of root cause, so we can look at those root causes, different problems. Of course, we would probably need to filter the data a little bit before using those, but we can still see that most of the price changes are happening in the fertilizers material group. So that is some insights of the process. And here we can also go deeper into the case ID. So basically the invoice level. So if you are trying to figure out why things are going poorly, you can easily identify the invoice number here and then contact the accordingly to the correct place and correct user, and you would get all those insights very easily. And also when planning on process improvement initiatives, you can also create some simulation on what kind of an impact it creates. So here we can see that without zero improvement, so we don't change anything in the process.
So keeping the same process.
Yeah, keeping the same a little bit faulty process. So we will have cost of rework. So maybe the worker has to do it twice or third times or something like that. So it creates some kind of costs. But really the major cost is the cost of lead time. So this is way bigger amount than the cost of actual rework. So there's the cost on lead time, as you could see above. The price changes really do have quite a big impact on the lead time. So with zero changes, we get zero savings. I guess that's pretty logical. And then if we, for example, would like to see 20% increase, or well, I'd say reduction on the price changes. So 20% less price changes in the process. So here we would see that there are still costs, but there are also savings compared to that we are creating nothing at all. So I guess these kinds of savings are quite beneficial for your business, keeping your customers happy and saving money at the same time.
That's brilliant. So it means that for each company saving hundreds of thousands of euros, even by a 20% improvement and reduction on those order changes. So not something unrealistic that, you know, all their rework would be gone in the future. No, but only the 20%. So the tool is showing you the most potential areas for that, and then also the business case calculation and energizing and empowering your organization to go with the initiative.
Yeah, that is true. So now, if we would imagine that our process has been improved so that there are no errors coming up in the process. So how to improve our lead time further? Well, we would probably start to think about automating the process. So we have also created these automation dashboards that help you to identify the best places for automation, because choosing the right process area for automation is quite troublesome sometimes. So first of all, the process has to be mature and there has to be enough activities happening in the process. So those are some things to consider when you think about automation. And also the activity type has to be correct. So not everything can be automated. So for example, in this dashboard, you can easily see the different automation levels or automation utilization levels in different factories, and also look at their event or activity counts. So for example, UK, which had quite a few price changes in the last analysis, now we can see that they have a lot of events happening, but still quite a few, only a few of them are automated. So definitely there's a lot of room for improvement. So we could maybe even more efficiently work through those order to cash process in the UK. And again,
can you actually show the UK, for example? How is their automation?
Definitely. So steps? We can click the bar here. It creates a temporary filter, and we can see the different activities that are happening in the UK and how well they are or are not automated.
So the overall 8% automation rate in the UK is explained by mostly invoice creation automation, and the other bubbles are all the way up in the scope, meaning that they have pretty close to or identical to 100% of manual labor.
Yeah. So here in the y-axis you have the ratio for manual work. So basically the best case scenario would be, well, invoice due date here. So it is completely automatic and it has quite a bit of activities happening through it. So it's likely very efficient activity in the UK. So maybe a good choice for automation could be to further fully automate invoice creation, or then start to look at some of these. For example, creating the sales item could probably be well automated. It has decent amount of events happening, and there definitely could be room for improvement there.
Definitely. Sales order creations, it depends by the channel the order is coming in. So if there should be an EDI order, some automations, digital channels, then it's fairly easy to automate and brings a nice business case over there. I love those projects. Yeah. And can you show it vice versa, perhaps the invoice creation, that picking that activity, how the other companies are doing related definitely to that one? So UK was somewhere with 50%, so if the average is 29, how are the others doing? So is it company-wide policy or company to company-wide, or how is it going? Okay, so UK is there in the middle, 50%. Oh, that's interesting. The third one, do I read it correctly? Trizone US Incorporated.
Yeah, so US over here.
Okay, they have a huge business volume, third biggest, and still their automation rate is near none. So definitely something to have a deeper look and a knowledge sharing with the automation team globally.
Yeah, definitely. So very useful and easy way to see and spot automation opportunities.
Excellent. So there's huge stack of different dashboards. You have shown us the operations overview, net price changes, next automation area. Those all are really good. Yeah.
And also the analysis that we did, that how long does it take for us to create an invoice? It could be easily seen here from here. So here there is a lead time dashboard to show how long does it take for us to create an invoice. This is from a little bit different part of the process, but we could easily change the activities according to the previous analysis.
To me, this is really straightforward analysis, that there is a delivery goods issue happening, and traditionally that's activity that allows you to invoice the end customer. So you should do it on the spot, hopefully automatically after the goods issue occurring, and all the time wasted after that, that's wasted working capital. And for example, in the table, average duration, some hints with the red color, there is Drystone India Ltd. Is it so 2.3 days average duration. So compared to best performance, 0. some days of invoice creation after goods issue, they are taking several days. So there's working capital for those 13 million worth of orders tied constantly, and something to be released for other more value-adding activities.
Okay. So basically here you can, one way to use this is to use it for your analysis when you're thinking about process improvement, but also you can easily like measure the results of your process improvement. So one really important thing in process improvement activities is to actually communicate the results that you have received from the process improvement itself. One reason for that is to motivate people for further improvement, so that actually the changes that have been occurring actually do make some sense. So that is one thing to consider here.
Absolutely. There are actually a bunch of questions coming in, and there's one related, at least to me, to this topic you just mentioned. So is it a project you're doing here, or something more continuous fashion? What do you think, Jaakko? Process mining.
I would say this is a continuous fashion. So process improvement projects can typically be something that starts and ends, and then we see what more there is to improvement, and then we have another project. But process mining itself is a continuous method, because we want to follow that our process is performing as it should be. We want to all the time to see how our process is going. Is it going for better or worse? We want to realize that what is our process performance, and to detect any changes and monitor it continuously. So definitely I would say that it is a continuous rather than a project-based.
I agree. And those companies that are thinking the way to go over here, I would suggest the proof of concept project, and you would see these analytics and in a project fashion, not updating frequently and giving you the insights in the future. And I'm very confident that the insights and those workshopping will take your company eventually to the continuous way and implementing the actual solution to have those same valuable insights, not just once in a project fashion, but also covered in the future. Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, doing those frequently. There's also a couple of questions, actually many related to data side. So this was SAP Order to Cash, but we can apply the same method for also different IT systems. And actually these dashboards, what do you think, Jaakko, if you consider, for example, this one, lead time invoicing, it's pretty agnostic to IT system, right? You just hook it on the table. And
so I would say that the only difference between different systems is likely these activity names. So invoice created can be for if it's in SAP it's invoice created, it can be in for example in Oracle it might be invoice creation. So I'm not sure if it is exactly that, but so small detail change to the names, but that is not a problem to the tool itself. So if we would apply this same dashboard to the Oracle, we would just use the same elements and the names would be a little bit different, but essentially it's the same information, the same insight that you will receive.
All right.
So essentially all your systems have these timestamps that are used to create timings between events, and they have values for orders or invoices. There are cases going through the systems, and there are some case attributes that give us more information on each specific case. So for example, who is the customer and where is this invoice being made?
There was very good. There was also a question coming in related to flexibility of the application. So is it something that you either have it like this or you don't have it, or can you tune it somehow on the fly? I think the answer is immediately yes, we can tune it. Can you show something like maybe the one I have used pretty frequently for the table of those insights, the company code is the slicing dimension. Can you even change that on the fly to be something?
This one here.
Yeah.
So definitely, maybe it's not that visible here, but there are settings. So you can easily go to change the settings. And if we don't want to see company code here as the dimension, we can, for example, take, let's say, material group. So we can see that the power drills and fertilizers have quite a bit of value in here. And we can change it to, let's say, sales organization. So very, very easy to make such changes. And the same applies to pretty much anything you see here. So it's very straightforward and easily flexible. So, and also if you would like to see different kind of analysis, so for example, if you would like to see this as a bar chart or something like that, it's very easy to change those. So I can demonstrate that easily. I can take the case count. If I don't want to see an area spline chart like this, we can go to take a column chart and apply. So it's the same data, but it looks a little bit different. So very, very easy to change those. And all these boxes you see here are totally customizable. So you can change their places, you can change their sizes, you can change the color of them if you so like.
Definitely. Very good. Maybe do you want to wrap the session?
Yeah,
any slides?
Definitely.
There's a couple of questions we can take in the very end. Those are more on the product level.
I have made a summary. So first of all, the benefits we would like to see in our order to cash process is the reduced working capital. So getting the money that we have earned in faster so that we can invest it further and create business growth. So we can reduce lead times and thus reduce operating costs. We can improve our customer and employee satisfaction and choose the best areas for improvement and automation. The basic method that we showcased is to first discover your process and then improve it and then monitor it. And discovery is based on real data, and the analysis are in a data-driven way. So you can analyze as it is happening in reality instead of trusting individuals' opinions. And this is very, very useful to support your automation and improvements. And lastly, we can communicate and monitor the results of these process improvements. So that is equally important in order to continuously drive for business growth and improvement. And now, if you have any further questions, I guess there were some still to be answered. We will gladly answer them. And if you have any questions come up later on, feel free to email me, and we will definitely answer them.
Yeah, definitely. Just to wrap it, a couple of questions. Is it multilingual? Yes. I suggest you to have a look on that release webinar on August 25th. So there are, was it 5 or even 6 different languages coming up being published?
Yeah, there's French, Spanish, Finnish, Swedish, Russian, I think, and of course English as the default language.
That's a nice stack of different languages to get started with your organization. And then a couple more technical questions about whether you need to install something on the user's PC or the source system, IT systems. It's easy answer, no to both. So QPR operates with different APIs to those source systems, extracting the already existing IT blueprints and raw data from IT systems. So no any application and those lengthy processes of getting some piece of software to your production servers and systems. No, we don't need any of that. So we read the data through APIs flexibly. But super, we are with Jaakko super pleased to answer any of your further queries and starting new Audit2Cash projects with you.
Definitely. And I am very happy if you have enjoyed this and find this presentation interesting and useful for you. And I would very keenly see you as the user for this tool and help you with the further process improvement with process mining. So definitely. Okay, so is there anything else to add, Olli?
No, thanks so much, Jaakko, for your presentation, demonstration, and Yen, do you want to add anything on QPR marketing side? Okay, I think we are good to wrap it now.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
please
any
nice
feedback
day
you have?
Yeah. Glad that you joined. See you
Super.
later.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.